Hello, 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 hello. It's late here, it's 20 past 9, but I am just waiting for the lovely Heather Gray to come along. I'll wait for a couple of you to join us, but we wanted to talk to something that Karen Anne Marie has been asking in the group today. So bear with us, I'm just going to wait for Heather to be live. I'm also balancing my phone rather precariously. Yay, Heather's here. Okay, let me work out how I do this. So I click on you. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. It's good. Also, I hate to say it, ladies and gents, but I am on the...
Hi!
Hey! Hello! And I think we've got Tina here as well. Tina, would you mind tagging Karen Anne Marie for me? I've started the wine. It's 20 past 9, okay? I waited until it
Well
was like an
played.
official
I've got
time.
coffee.
I'm like, I'm gonna pour a bigger glass so nobody judge me. Um, I'm like, it's
Everybody
gonna
celebrate you.
everyone is literally going to judge me. I'm okay with that. I'm fine. It's a coat to roan. I'm okay. Like feeling snazzy in my PJs. I'm like, woo woo. So yes, and I did. Oh shoot! Don't worry, that's not actually me drunk. That's just the phone slipping on the charger. So we wanted to just pop in because Karen Anne Marie asked a really loving that hashtag from Casey Danger. I'm here to judge. I'm okay with this. Someone should have this as a screenshot. So we wanted to hop in because Karen brought up a really good thing earlier, and sometimes we can feel really alone when it comes to business building, when it comes to like the foundations and everything. And it can be really difficult. It can be really, really difficult to feel like somebody has your back. And we are launching some really good stuff this month, which I'm very, very excited about. We are going to be telling you about it later on. But we wanted to just pop in and talk about how important it is to not let the online world get to you sometimes. And also how you can give up feeling like you failed. Because actually, the online space makes it really easy for us to feel like we failed. And it's kind of set up in that way, right? The more we buy, the more we feel like we're not doing, sometimes the more we aren't doing. I love that everyone thinks that we're teasing. I'm like, genuinely not. It's just that we don't have shit ready yet. So I'm like, but that's what we want to talk to you today. So I'm going to hand over to Heather for some mindset stuff, so that you guys can kind of catch up with that, and then we'll have a decent conversation as we always do.
Okay, so Karen, here's the thing. Like, I found Jess's group when I was doing all the things and none of it was working. And so I think sometimes those moments and those experiences are we want to own a business, we have to figure out a way to gut it through the hard times. Because one of the things that Jess and I talk about all the time is there's a difference between making money online and owning a business. She and I were talking about a discussion that started in another community where somebody wanted to engage in in what's called like retail arbitrage for some quick cash. This idea that you go to like Costco, you buy a bunch of shit and then you sell it and do a turnaround on eBay. That's making money online, but you're not going to be running a business and you're not going to be building a brand and you're not going to be making a lasting impact when you're only focused on bringing in cash. And some of that happens when we're in that desperation mindset, like the idea of like, I need a quick buck, what can I do? That puts us in the scarcity mindset and has us set back a bit. But if you can focus on why you started this, what it is that you are hoping to do and transform for people, you can tune into the impact you're willing to make, because you are going to get frustrated. You're going to feel like pulling your hair out. But until you get right with yourself, it doesn't matter which guru you go to. You could go to Jess, you could go to Stu McLaren, you could go to James Wedmore, you can go to any of the other products and services that are being sold, but you'll just end up grabbing a desperate product without a plan or a strategy. You have to get right with yourself and where you are. And part of that means accepting that you're in the shitter right now, owning that you're in the shitter, but then making it controllable, mindful, actionable plan for getting out. And I'm so glad that you posted this, Karen, and you came to the group, and you came to the perfect group for it, because so many of the people in this group have been exactly there. I was there. My business was making, you mentioned like $500. I think I was making less than 100 online when I met Jess. And I have a full-time income after having met Jess. But what I needed to do is recognize that it wasn't as easy as everyone had led me to believe. That you can't just create a website and suddenly have a full-time business, that it takes work, it takes perseverance. And one of the things that I talk to people about is it comes with the choice to be the boss. And a lot of people, when they think about owning their own business, they forget that it means being the boss of their business. And where you are right now, you personally are feeling personally frustrated. You want to pull your hair out. You want to give up. You want all the family and the haters to say like, coulda, shoulda, woulda. What does the boss of your business want to do right now? And you mentioned like this choice of having like an online job or going and getting a real job. I said in the post at the time, before I said to Jess, let's just go live and help her live, I said, maybe you need to get some part-time work, get some money in the door so you can breathe. Because Jess and I have both worked with people and seen people who give up their rent and give up their mortgages for their business. And they end up creating bullshit businesses that are completely out of integrity, that have no bearing because it's born out of desperation and a feeble attempt to get quick cash. You're absolutely positively in the right place. You just have to start thinking differently, because Jess started her response to you in the post with a list of strategies. You have to get yourself in the right mindset to apply those strategies. And when I met Jess, I was like, I heard the strategy, they went by the screen, and I was too like crying in my beer at the time to really think about what was happening, because I felt like I did the website, I have the social media following, I wrote the, my big thing with Jess was like, I have an article that got 1 million page views, I should be able to get a client from that. And I couldn't like work out of that. Once you make the choice to be the boss and own the boss decision, you're going to be able to look at what Jess is talking to you about, and you're going to be able to apply those strategies. And Tina is like a perfect example. I have watched her come from out of nowhere to build a freaking dream for herself, but she was right where you were, like right with this post. So you have to stay close to this group, and you have to get yourself on a focused mindset. And then these strategies Jess outlined, and I'm sure she can do it again, then you can put those into effect and you will crush it.
I'm just playing the drinking game that Casey Danger has set up for us. Where I drink every time you say strategy. So technically I should be a lot drunker than I am right now. But it's true, right? I think the thing is that we come into the online world and job is a dirty word. And I'm really tired of seeing this. I nod along to all the stuff that Heather says because I'm like, it just makes sense. And I know that when I started my business, I didn't necessarily go, hey guys, I have this job and it's awesome. It's so awesome that I want to leave and set up my online business. I didn't necessarily publicize it, but I didn't hide it. And I was actually really pleased that I had it. And I was saying this to somebody the other day, the job allowed me to do so much more because I could invest in things. I could invest in, email autoresponders, in schedulers, in all that stuff. And it took away the attachment that I had to every single sale. And when you take away attachment, when you detach yourself from the outcome, actually it becomes a lot easier to sell because you don't care, and it really does become like that. It's not that you don't care about your clients. It's not that you don't care if they get the results or not. It's that you're not attached to the money in any way, shape or form because something else is already looking after your kids, your mortgage, rent, bills, whatever that looks like. So I want to really destigmatize this, because I think it is really important that if your business isn't generating the income that you want it to right now, you have two options. And the common popular online option is to put yourself under a shit ton of stress and just keep going. Now, if I was about to have a heart attack, nobody would be saying to me, "Oh yeah, Jess, just keep putting yourself in a bunch more of, stressful situations. Keep doing what you're doing to make yourself really ill and maybe you'll get over it." We wouldn't do that. What we'd be saying is, "Jess, take some time out, chill, relax. Don't drink any more wine, eat vegetables and all this kind of stuff." And we'd be asking, those people to actively look after themselves, look after their mental health, look after their physical health. It's exactly the same when you're setting up a business. Nothing changes. It's not a bad thing to go and get a job. Hence why it's 9:30 at night. I'm somebody who is very much about not ease and flow, but I work when I want to. I'm very much about having my own time, all of this kind of thing. Wine is a fruit, technically. I'm going to go with fruit, but maybe not vegetable. And it's one of those things where actually I can get up at 9:20 and go, yeah, sure, let's do a live. Let's help someone in the community because I want to. Because from about, I don't know, 4 o'clock, Beth will probably tell everyone, I haven't done anything. Just been sat here doing my own thing, watching Netflix. And that is how you can control it. But it takes hard work to get there. And I say to everyone, I'm very open. When I started my business, I had a job. I was working 70 hours a week in my job, and I was setting up my business on the side. And I've never been prouder of myself because it wasn't easy. And business ownership, like Heather is saying, it's not easy. It's not something we're entitled to. Yes, I firmly believe that anyone can set up a business, but I think it comes with sacrifices. And sometimes the sacrifice is actually it doesn't work as quickly as we want it to, and we have to have a job to fund it. And there's no shame in that. I was Heather was talking earlier about Tina. Tina McDonald is someone who has done a ton of work, and really has changed. 3 months ago, 6 months ago, I would imagine that 12 months ago is a completely different person. But she takes action consistently every day. And that's the thing, she doesn't sit and dwell on things. She goes, right, okay, I see what I've done wrong. I'm going to go do this instead, and I'm going to give it 100%. And in all honesty, that's what we need. That's what we need more business owners to be doing, not to be buying tons of shiny objects. And I know that there are tons out there at the moment. In fact, me and Heather were voxering earlier about Stu McLaren's Tribe. I think it's a great course. Have never taken it, but think it's a great course. We've just had B School, we've just had 90-day year. We've had a ton of affiliate programs at the moment. But sometimes we don't need the shiny object. Sometimes we just need to do the work. Yeah.
And I think that sometimes too, the dangers
Oh, your Wi-Fi's
with
gone.
Facebook. I'll try to use the word strategy. But one of the things
Bring it on.
But one of the things that happens is that we come to groups like this and everybody says, you can do it, you've got this, we've got your back. And nobody really spends time talking about how. And, when I was where Karen was, Karen, you and I are just meeting, so you probably don't know this, but I was a brick and mortar private therapist. So I had my own business locally to where I was living, and I was burnt out offering mental health therapy to the point where people think I'm joking, but I hated people. I was so burnt out. I came to a place of just hating people, and I knew I wanted to get out, but I knew too that it takes time to build the know, like, and trust factor. It takes time to get people to reconnect with you on a new message. So one of the things I did is I cut the heaviest weight of my clients. I cut the people who were really soul sucking my energy, but I needed to leave some. So I was still doing work I didn't like while I built the business and the brand. And if you are in a fortunate position where you're just kind of thinking to yourself, you should go get a job, but financially you don't, quote unquote, need to get a job, then I really think you need to look at where you're at in your business right now, like, and really own versus what you want your business to look like and what you hope for your business. What are you actually doing to get yourself there? What are the steps you've been taking? How are you showing up? How are you not showing up? How are you getting yourself in the spotlight? And how are you playing small? And do that self inventory, and then ask yourself two questions. What are you willing to do next? And what would the boss decision be? Because Jess is outlining strategies. A lot of people in this group have been right where you are, and they can tell you that they're doing the strategies too. But you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to do for what I want? Because it, like, we can all give you a group hug and we can say, there, it's okay, you'll feel better. And we can kumbaya your way through everything. But then in an hour, you're still going to feel like shit. Like, nothing changes with the group hugs. We have to get you to go and do something different. So you take the support that you have, and you take the love and the energy from this group, and you have your cry and you have your moment of giving up. But then what I really want to challenge you to do is to come back to this post tomorrow to look at all the different strategies. Kyle was in the post earlier talking about looking at your mindset and your time management strategy. Jess had a list of 5 steps. I think Tina was offering some things too. So you can look at the specific strategies that people offered and ask yourself, as the boss of my business, what am I going to do? And then you make a plan and meet up with somebody in the group. Like, find an accountability partner who you can say, I said I'm going to do this, go and do it. And then let that accountability partner know how it felt, how it worked, like what worked, what didn't work. But then you're setting yourself up for success to take a moment of breakdown to have your breakthrough. Otherwise, we're going to kumbaya your way through it, but the rest of us are going to go on making money tomorrow, and you're still going to be feeling like shit. The only way we get you into the money-making mentality is getting you to create a new... Now, I see Jess drinking. I can't even. But like, the only way we're going to get you to do the money making activity is if you make a new plan for yourself tomorrow that you use today to get the support. But then, you know, my challenge and my personal challenge to you, because you must know that 2 entrepreneurs don't spontaneously go on a live if we're not invested in you and what happens next. I would really love it if you came back to this group and you tagged Jess and I, and you told us what your plan is for Tuesday, what you're going to do next, so that you take the support, have your back, and then tell us tomorrow what you end up doing with your fresh start.
Yeah, and I mean 100%. Like, obviously, I'm not playing the drinking game correctly. Katie Danger is very, happily reminding me that I'm not playing this right. So don't worry, if I've missed anything, just let me know. I've got the wine here. There's an entire bottle that I can go through. I think, the thing is that and we see it very, very often. It's all too easy in the online world to shame people, right? We shame people every day. We shame people for doing the work. We shame people for not doing the work. We shame people for buying. We shame people not, like, when they don't buy. And I think that, in all honesty, we have to start understanding that what works for one person may not work for everyone else. And so that's why when Heather and I are going live and we're saying to you, consider these questions. Consider how they make you feel. It's not because we want you to do all the hard work. It's because ultimately what we're trying to do, there we go, ultimately, that's the second time I've now used it today. Karen counts my ultimately in the podcast. But it's because we actually want you to succeed. And if we don't help you get to a point where you can answer the question yourself and say, I would be happier if I had a job, if I didn't have a job, if I understood that I needed to work on my mindset work, if I understood that I needed to work on my sales stuff first. It doesn't matter. We just need to get you to that point where you identify, actually, this is my goal. This is how I understand that I want to move forward. And we'll go, right, okay, there you go. And we'll give you different options and different pieces that you can utilize but we can't make the decision for you. And I'm really, really tired online of watching everyone give the same advice. You know, buy this course, do this thing. There is no one thing that is going to solve everyone's problems. You know, there just isn't. We can't do that. We can't find anything that is going to solve everyone's problems. So what we have to start doing is looking internally at actually how do we feel about building our businesses. Some of us at the moment, you know, I say this, I've been mugging up for a presentation I've got to do tomorrow this evening, hence the wine, because wine helps me think creatively. You know, and I've been sat here thinking about it, and I feel great about my business right now. You know, I'm really happy with it. Heather knows, you know, I've got some really cool speaking things lined up. I've, you know, just produced a book and a planner. 3 years ago, I wanted to chuck my business in. And honestly, people could have, you know, not even given me money. People could have literally just turned up to me in the street and been like, I will take your business off your hands. And I'd been like, here you go. Have it. It's horrible. It's a nightmare, right? Heather was there like a year and a half ago. I was sat in my kitchen. People don't understand this. Sam hates the table that we have in our kitchen. I would show you, but it's covered in shit, so I don't really want to subject anyone to that. But we have this pointless thing you've ever seen, and it's black and it's glass and it's hideous and it doesn't fit with anything else in our flat. But when I started my business, I sat in my kitchen every day at that table, and I had post-it notes on our cupboards that said, what money-making activity have I done today? What branding and visibility activity have I done today? What learning and development activity have I done today? And I sat there and I'd look at them every day, and I'd be on the seminars, and I remember buying all of the programs, and I did the shiny object syndrome, right? I bought The Machine by Ryan Deiss, and I tried to make email marketing work, and you know that didn't work because when I rang up Infusionsoft, they were like, oh, it's going to be £2,000 to set that up for you. And I was like, do you also want my bone marrow? Like, would you like a leg? Because I don't have £2,000. Like, you know, so we've all been there. And, you know, maybe if we were a lot more open about it, instead of using that to try and talk about how we can sell something else, it would be easier. But that's not going to change online. You know, that is the thing. People are always going to use rags to riches to sell because it does sell really well. What we're saying to you right now is you don't need to go and, you know, feel like you're lesser or that you aren't going to be successful because you can't invest in anything right now. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, right? It happens. What we do need everyone to understand is that in order to move forward in your business, it's not about looking at the shiny objects and thinking, what's the quickest one that's going to get me to the goal? It's about looking at your business where it is right now and understanding, what do I need to do in my business to get to the next level? Because what somebody needs to do at making, you know, 0 a month versus making 5K a month versus making 10K a month is very, very different. And people don't always clarify that. You know, yes, anyone can use webinars, anyone can use video series, anyone can use any kind of strategies. But it's about looking at what makes your stuff work. And it's about understanding, you know, why things work for you and why they don't work for anyone else. And sometimes that's down to intuition, sometimes it's down to mindset, sometimes it's down to the fact that actually strategically, you're just doing things that make you uncomfortable and they don't work. And that's
And
it, right?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Yeah.
But one of the things I see Heather Clark and Joyce on the call, and they have been instrumental in helping me go from 0 to hero as well, because both of them pointed out to me how I was playing it safe, how I wasn't really showing up, and how I was waiting for people to come to me rather than sort of being fearless and going to people. And one of the things I really learned from their challenge on this is and both of them challenged me, tremendously. And it was hard to hear at first. But one of the things that I learned is there's a difference between how bad you feel and how much you're actually doing. And a
Yes.
lot of people think that they are taking shit tons of action because they feel like shit. And there is a
Yeah.
huge discrepancy. And what I was doing was I was just offering content with this idea that, like, if you build it, they will come, and not really showing up, not really doing the work. But if somebody had asked me if I was doing the work, I would have been like, I'm writing this article, I'm going into this Facebook group, I've been talking to people, I'm inviting my email list to discovery calls, but I wasn't actually doing anything. I was going through the motions, but I was really, when you really look at it, I was playing small. So part of it is to not confuse how bad we're feeling with how much we're doing.
Yeah. 100%. And the thing is, it doesn't change. Like, I want to be very, very transparent about this. And again, me and Heather were voxering about this earlier because basically what happens is I wake up and I voxer Heather back from the night before, and then Heather wakes up and voxes me, and we kind of do this voxer thing for about 8 hours a day, and it's great. But we
Yeah,
were
we
talking
still
about
build
this.
our businesses, by the way. We still get shit done.
Yeah, some. But it's one of those things where we were talking about this earlier, and we were saying about the work doesn't stop. You don't get to a point in your business, and I want to be very painfully clear about this. My business has hit 7 figures. Woohoo! That's wonderful. It doesn't mean that I don't look for new leads. It doesn't mean that I don't advertise discovery calls. It doesn't mean that I don't promote new programs. It doesn't mean that I don't do Facebook ads. It doesn't mean that I don't go out and do speaking events. It doesn't mean that I don't do free stuff for people who have large tribes so that I can grow and increase my tribe. It doesn't mean any of that. I do more of it if that's possible, right? And we were talking about this. It doesn't stop. Your business growing, and making your first 10K month is cool, but it's not sustainable unless you're prepared to put that work in long term. So the things that I did 3.5 years ago, I still do. And yes, do you know what? I turn up to my lives and I'm kind of looking at it right now and I'm like, I've worn this jumper for a week. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie, it kind of smells a little bit funny, but it's the last thing that Sam wore before he went away. And so for me, I'm like, it smells like Sam, and I'm gonna wear it for the next 4 weeks, and I don't even care. I don't wear it all day. I just want to also point that out. I'm like, it's not an all day wear, and I do wear deodorant, but for the next 4 weeks, every night, this is my PJs because for me, that's how it is. And so both me and Heather will tell you that we still stay real, nothing changes, we still work really hard, we still put in all the effort. I vox Heather and she voxes me, and we say, oh, today was a shit day. And today was a great day. And, everything in between. And it doesn't change. And that's sometimes the joy and the curse of having your own business, is that won't change. You are not going to wake up one day and be like, oh my God, like 150 leads just came in, I did nothing. And if you do, you've got a really good PR person, because that's the only way that happens. Trust me. We have to work consistently. So please don't feel like you're behind because you're comparing your first step to my 10,000 or Heather's 5,000 or anybody else's. It's really not about that. It's about understanding, where am I right now? What are the key tasks that I need to focus on? And fuck everyone else. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Yes, it might look glamorous. I look at Russell Brunson very often and I go, oh God, it must be great. Like, I might just set up a piece of software and just charge people like $200 a month to just come and download it. And that's pretty much it. But me and Russell are at very different stages. And also, Russell is a technical guy and I'm really not. So that's never going to happen for me. You've got to understand that it's not about focusing on where other people are or what they're doing. It's about where you are and using the resources that you have available right now, whether it be time, energy, money, whatever, and moving forward with that.
Yes. All, yeah, yes, to all of that. That's what it's going to come down to. And the other piece too is recognizing that even after you have your initial sort of signs of success, you're still going to make mistakes. One of the things, like, I'll call myself out. So Jess has a recent podcast episode of, what did you call it? What to do when you're full? Was that the name
What
of
to
it?
do when
The
you
one.
yeah, what to do when you feel like you've done everything, basically.
Yeah, so
I
it
think
was
it's that
it was
one.
something like that. But that came from me because I filled my practice, like my online business, for December, January, and February, and then I emptied out for March because I had never been looking ahead. And it's like, oh, like, well, poo on me. Like, I took for granted being full for 3 months, and I didn't have any like pipeline stuff. So then I had to go and use some cash creation strategies from Jess's program, implement it, and I filled up March, but I still had to learn the lesson of, like, oh crap, how'd I end up empty for a month? Like, I haven't been empty for a month probably since I met Jess. So it's like you're gonna make the mistakes, and you're gonna feel silly and dumb, and like, what kind of boss or am I if I can't, like, keep the lead generation going. But it's also lessons learned. And if you can own them as the cost of doing business and make the choice for yourself that as the boss of your business, you're going to have shit days. You're going to feel bad and discouraged, and you're going to want to give up. But then you kind of have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and figure out what you're going to do about it. Everything changes, because now I know that I never have to be worried about money, because I realized I was empty for March. I used two strategies from cash creation, implemented them, and got cash. So it's about making the choice to create the plan. And that's really the message. Is it feels like shit, but you were going, like, there's strategies you can take to change the ending to your story. You can feel different April 1st than you do right now, but it's only going to happen if you embrace the group hug that is this community, and then go and take action on the things that are suggested.
And Sky's just asking if is cash creation a course or a membership? It's a course. So if you want to take cash creation, you can always drop me a message, and we can get you in there. Um, but yeah, so I'm I'm always in awe of Heather. She makes it really, really easy for us to kind of look at mindset stuff and go, oh yeah, obviously it's just that. Like, but what I will say is that, you're going to go through this roller coaster many, many times as an entrepreneur. It's not the problem that is the problem, so to speak. It's how you deal with the problem. And I have always said, and I don't know whether people actually believe me or not, and I don't really care, to be honest. I've always said that if my business went under tomorrow, we have a super down the road, and it's literally a really cheap German supermarket called Lidl. If you live in the UK, you'll know that everything is like under a pound. And it's brilliant. I love it. I shop there all the time because it's 50 meters away from where I live. And also it's great. Everything is so cheap. Like, I love that, right? So I've always said, if my business went under tomorrow, I'd go and get a job stacking shelves in Lidl. And I just sort out the business stuff in the, in the back. And it wouldn't bother me at all. You kind of have to let go of this online pride that we're also worried about keeping up. I get that it's scary. I get that it's not easy to say, I'm doing really well this month, or I'm actually not doing so well this month, and what do I do? And I think that's the biggest thing that I really admire Karen for, is for coming out and saying to a group of 2,000 people, like, that's not a small amount, and saying, actually, I'm struggling. It's not easy, but it gets you where you need to be a lot quicker. And I was always the person, and Heather was always the person that says, hey, I don't get this. I don't get what's going on. I don't understand what's happening. How can I do better? So really, I think, in here, certainly the conversation is much more about how can we be more transparent? How can we help you? One of the things that we're going to be doing is next week, we're going to be running a challenge about where you are in your business and what you actually need to be doing mindset wise and strategy wise for where you are right now. Because what we're seeing is a ton of people who are entering the market, who are selling expensive courses that just don't fit what people actually need. Okay, so we'll be running that in here. That'll be the first time me and Heather ever actually do a free challenge live. Yay! Very excited, very excited. And we haven't had a challenge in here for a while. Oh, gosh, there's my phone. Everyone's going to think I'm an alcoholic. I'm like, I have like 2 glasses. It's one of those things. I just can't give up red wine. I'm sorry, guys. But we are going to be running a challenge in here. We are going to be looking at what it really is that you need to be doing right now, what you really need to be focusing on, and how you can move forward. Because, you know, the online space is full of shiny objects. It's full of things out there that you can buy. It's full of all of the stuff that's going on. What it's not full of is answers. And that's what's missing, you know, and that's what we hear in this group, in Heather's group, all of the time, is the answers. We're not teasing you, we're giving you a challenge. We're like, we're here.
I know.
This is just giving me more time to write the sales page. Right? So if you want to...
I don't know if I want to burst the bubble and be like, well, actually, we're pretty approachable. I like inciting fear, Bernadine. I kind of like, it's making me feel like a badass today.
I mean, to be fair, I think we are relatively terrifying. As people go, I'd say that we're terrifying. I mean, people often call me that, and I'm not entirely sure why. Perhaps I'm just really mean. Bloody hell, this blooming phone. So if you are interested in the challenge, then please let us know in the comments, because I will be popping up a page for everyone to sign up tomorrow. You can all join in the challenge. And it is really important that whatever you decide to do, you join the challenge and you come at it from a perspective of, I'm going to unlearn everything that I just spent however long learning. And I know that that can be really painful. Right? It sucks. Okay. I get that it sometimes when we look at unlearning things, it's a real big step out of our comfort zone, because actually unlearning things sometimes is more difficult than trying to learn them again in the first place. But we're going to make it as easy as possible. And what we want to do is for everybody to join the challenge and just be really honest about where you are right now, so that you can look at the next steps for you, whether those next steps are, I've got to get my first client, I've got to go and do a complete pivot, I've got to completely rebrand, I've got to automate and scale, I've got to hire my first team member. It's not about judging everyone and going, oh God, where are you? Oh, so that we can all look at you and go, oh wow, you know, should be a lot further on, time's a ticking. We're not going to be doing that at all. We're going to be looking at giving you the best advice where you are, mindset and strategy. Don't worry, I've got one in the bank. A Smart Leader Sales Society challenge if it didn't have prizes. So, you know, participation equals prizes, people. So when you hear Max snort, I die. Like, I literally die. Max does nothing but snort. So if you are up for the challenge, throw us some emojis, let us know, because we will be having you, we'll have a not sales page, a landing page up tomorrow. You can go there, you can sign up. The challenge will all be run in the group. So it'll be completely free. You can participate completely for free. You can get access to me and Heather and our minds, sometimes alcohol fueled, other times not alcohol
mileage
fueled.
may vary.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't know. It depends how late we're running these live streams. I mean, the wine is a big problem for me. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. So that'll be next week in here will be the challenge. And if you do have questions, if you do get stuck, please let us know. You know, if you don't post, we can't help you. And as you've just seen, we're more than happy to jump on. We're more than happy to help people. We just need to know that you're struggling, and we need to know what with. So don't be afraid, certainly not in here, to say, great day, shit day. We're not bothered. We're not worried about trying to support everybody just when you're having the picture perfect moment of everything's great, I've got clients, woohoo. We're interested in making sure that you feel supported online, regardless of what's going on. And sometimes that doesn't always look pretty.
You got it. Karen, thanks again for your bravery with this and inspiring this conversation. Tina made a comment, and I don't know if you saw it, but she said, like, you don't know who else you may have helped, because as Jess said, in a group of 2,000, you're not the only person thinking it wasn't going to happen for them. So I really applaud your bravery. Thanks so much for showing up in such a big way for yourself and your business today. And I really look forward to getting to know you next week in the challenge. It's going to be awesome.
Yay! All right, my loves, we will head off. We will let you go and do whatever it is that you were doing with your evenings before we decided to hop on. But if you do have any questions for Heather and I, please obviously tag us in the group, with your questions. That's more than okay. We will be popping out a landing page for the challenge tomorrow. I will make sure that we tag everyone who's commented here. So if you're watching the replay and you want to be part of the challenge, make sure that you comment and we'll make sure that we tag you in. Liz is cuddling her puppy. I'm very jealous. Liz has a new puppy. Did you see it on Facebook? His name is Bo. His name is Bo, and he's an apricot cockapoo. Not that I stalk anyone in this group, but obviously I've stalked Liz. Liz and the dog, all right? Just saying.
Yeah, Max's Instagram following is going to have some competition.
I know. We'll have one new follower. Yay! The name of the challenge. So what we're probably going to call the challenge, and I haven't spoken to Heather about this, but what we'll probably call it is the Taking the Bullshit Out of Business Challenge, because that's what we're kind of calling everything at the moment, in line with the stuff that we're doing for the rest of the month. So look out for that. Look out for the landing page on that tomorrow. I'll make sure that we tag everyone. Like I say, if you've got questions, please just ask. This is the group to do it in, and we will be here to support you. We can't promise that it's always going to be warm and fuzzy and that everything's going to feel really good when we support you, but it'll be support, and we will give you practical, actionable things that you can use to move away and, do things with. And no, Max hasn't been massively active on Instagram of late. That is my fault. His camera skills are phenomenal, obviously, and his selfie skills, phenomenal. However, all of his photos have been with me in the same jumper, because we've been taking them late at night to send to Sam to make him feel better about being 8,000 miles away. So what I was a bit worried about was that everyone would think his owner was some kind of skank who didn't wash or change clothes. So that's the only reason that he hasn't been massively active. Apart from that, he'll be back on board. Give it 3 weeks and he'll be back on the gram. I know. It's terrible. So have a really good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. If you have questions for us, make sure that you let us know, and we will see you hopefully on board for the challenge next week. We'll see you soon.